Hey everybody, good morning, good morning, good morning. Listen, I am so excited about today's topic. So I'm going to give you guys a second and then we'll dive right into it. But in case you missed the Insta story, in case you missed the post, today we're going to be talking about 3 lessons. It's hashtag Beyonce taught us. And it's 3 lessons that we can learn from Beyonce's Ivy Park launch, which, if you didn't know, is going to be launching on tomorrow. So if you're excited and you're ready to learn the nitty gritty, yes, I see those hearts are popping. A little bit about me before we get into it. My name is Lindsey Walker. I'm a publicist by trade. To date, I have worked with over 100 brands since I started my company in 2012. My clients have been featured in everywhere from Essence, Madame Noir, the New York Times, Black Enterprise, the list just goes on and on. And so these are the things that I love talking to you, my community, my fellow business owners, my aspiring publicists. I love talking about different topics and integrating them into public relations and what that looks like from a campaign standpoint. So, yes, super excited. Let's get right into it, okay? We're going over 3 things. 1, 2, 3. 3 things that Beyonce taught us from her Ivy Park launch and what you need to keep in mind as you are working with your clients, as you are mapping out their campaigns, or if you are a brand owner yourself, it's something that you also need to keep in mind, all right? So I hope that you have your notebooks handy. I hope that you have your pens, your pieces of paper, whatever it is that you need to go grab. Make sure that you go grab it because we are about to dive right in. So the most important thing that we have to keep in mind when it comes to Ivy Park is that it is a relaunch, okay? So it's not like this is new. It's not like this is something that Beyonce, just decided to drop out of the sky. It's something that she launched, right? It's something that she took a look at it. She saw, okay, this is what's working. This is what isn't working. So sometimes just because you launch something and it's not as successful as you plan for it to be, that does not mean that you throw it by the wayside. And just as a side note, one of the things that I've really been intentional about for 2020, when I'm talking to all of my friends, all of my entrepreneur friends, just my friends in general, is if you tried something and it didn't work the first time, let's say maybe you tried something a couple of years ago. If it didn't work, now is the time to try it again because you have a fresh pair of eyes. You're able to see what the lessons were. You're able to see where you dropped the ball. So don't be afraid to start over again, you guys. I don't care what it was that didn't work the first time. Do not be afraid to start over. I think that that's the most important thing that we can learn from this Ivy Park launch is the fact that you can always take something that you already created and you can start all over again. Hey, you guys, welcome. If you are just now joining, we are getting into 3 lessons that you can learn from the Ivy Park launch. And I just kind of gave you a little bit of leadway into it, which is if you have launched something in the past, do not be afraid to start over again. So that's what she did, right? She went back to the drawing board. She went back and said, okay, what can we do differently? Maybe there was a certain target market that she wanted to hit. Maybe, there was just a different type of branding perspective that she wanted to hit. And so they decided to go back to the drawing board. So as a business owner, you have to look at your target audience and you have to look at your branding perspective. What do you want people to know about your business? What do you want people to know about your brand? How do you want them to feel? What's the perception that you want them to have? And this is not only relevant to product-based businesses, but also service-based business owners as well. Excuse me, you guys. Also, service-based business owners as well. What do you want people to know? What's the experience? What's the company culture that you want people to have pertaining to your business? So keep that in the back of your head. That is definitely something that we learned from this Ivy Park launch. But that's not even number 1. I'm just giving you guys a little bit, okay? So number 1, you have to get the people talking early. Get the people talking early. We saw... what was it? I think it was almost about a month ago, right, when she started to do, hey Crosby, when she started to do the, what was it? She did the L cover, and she had her fans kind of tune in, and we were able to ask her questions and all of those things. And so you have to get people excited about what you are doing early. You can't just decide to drop a product and say, okay, well, everything is done, so let me drop it on a Tuesday. No, it needs to be strategic, you guys. You have to have a strategy, and you have to make sure that you are getting people talking early. Get them talking early. So whether you are coming up with a new book launch, whether you are coming up with a new design launch, you gotta get the people talking early. You have to get the people talking early. So that's number one. Like, she has really been going hard at pushing this whole Ivy Park movement for the past couple of months. She did it first with her visuals, right? She came up with a creative concept and creative photo shoot to get people talking, to get us excited, right? So she had braids that had beads woven in that said Ivy Park, thinking outside of the box. How are you going to get the people talking? How are you going to get them excited about what it is that you have going on? Number one, it starts with knowing your concept. Number two, it starts with having dope visuals. And number three, it starts with the overall message. All of these things together are needed to get people talking about whatever it is that you are promoting. If you guys are rocking with me, give me some hearts, throw some hearts up on the screen. Let me know that this is making sense to you. Thank you. Hey, Netta. Hey, Paige. Hey, you guys. Welcome. All right. So, number one, you got to get the people talking early. I see a lot of business owners just waiting until the last minute to put things out. And no, you have to be strategic. You have to be strategic, okay? Be strategic. So that's number one, that hashtag Beyonce taught us from this Ivy Park launch. Number two, you also want to target the people, okay? Number two, target the people. And what do I mean by that? You've been seeing the videos of her sending these huge boxes to Ellen, right? She sent a box to Yara. She sent a box to her mom, right? Like, she has all of her friends, all of her potential, target market and people that wear her product, or at least people that she knows are going to get people talking about her product, right? Because now, and I just saw something on social media, it was either yesterday or earlier this morning, where people were like, oh my gosh, Beyonce should have sent those boxes to her fans, right? But you have to be very, very, very clear on who you're sending it to. Like, are they going to be able to push it? Are they going to be able to help you promote it, right? So it's all about who you are targeting. And this is where we see that influencer marketing is key, right? Influencer marketing is key. And I won't get into all of that today, but you have to have a budget. Okay? You have to have a budget. And the other thing is, you have to be willing to give away product. Beyonce is spending out so much money on this launch before it launches, right? Like, it launches tomorrow. Tomorrow's the launch. Saturday, January 18th, Ivy Park launches. However, if you pay attention, because I see a lot of potential clients of mine, and I, just hear a lot of different things from small business owners, from different Facebook groups that I'm in, and it's like, okay, I just want my business to be successful. Okay, but what are you doing? You have to give the people something. You have to give the people something. You gotta give the people something. And what do the people want? They want to know what it is that you have to offer. They want to know what your product's like. They want to know what your packaging is like, which is what we'll get into for the third point. Excuse me, you guys. But they want to know what it's like to have an experience with your brand. So before you can give people an experience, you want to make sure that you're giving the right people the right experience. So write that down as a secondary point to number 2 is targeting your people, targeting your target market, but also make sure you're reaching the right people and giving them the right experience with your business and with your brand. Okay. Number 3, your packaging has to be on point. Have you guys been able to take a look at the videos that she sent? Like I said, I was just watching. Thank you. I was just watching the video that Ellen posted, and the box was huge. She sent out a ton of inventory, and she made sure that it was reflective of her brand, that it spoke to what she wanted to convey. She didn't just put out the package and put it in a bag and say, okay, Ellen. She didn't just mail it out in the post office with a regular box. No, it was an experience from start to finish. So think about that with your own products and your own services, or think about that with your clients as you're consulting them on their products and their services, right? You have to think about the bigger picture. And here's the other thing. This is about longevity. This is about longevity. So yes, she's going to make money off of her launch, right? Because she's been putting in so much work. I'm interested to see what the numbers are after tomorrow. I'll probably check, and then we can kind of do like a part 2 of this. But you want to think about this for the long haul. Whenever you think about publicity, whenever you think about different partnerships, whenever you think about different marketing strategies, there are no quick fixes, okay? Let me say that. There are not any quick fixes whatsoever, okay? It's about longevity. It's about how you want people to think about your brand from years from now, right? So you want to go into it thinking about that from the beginning. Like, if you are just now launching a product, you want to make sure that you have another form of income, right? You want to make sure that you have another form of income. If you're just depending on making money from one launch and you're only doing it, it's your first time doing it, you're going to be waiting on the checks to get cut, right? You are going to be waiting on the checks to get cut. So, I know that most of us don't have Beyonce money, but you should at least have 2 different streams of income prior to launching something new. Why? Because you're going to have to invest in the brand. You are going to have to take the money that you make from the launch and reinvest that, right? So it may take some time for you to see a profit. It may take time for you to see a profit, okay? So, just to give you guys a bit of a recap, and then we will open up the floor for questions. Number 1, you want to get the people talking early. Number 2, you want to make sure you target the right people and that you give them the right experience. And number 3, your packaging has to be on point and has to speak about the overall brand and coincide with your brand messaging. Okay, and bonus points, if you have started something, do not be afraid to relaunch and try it again. And then also, you just want to make sure that everything that you're doing, you're thinking about it from a longevity standpoint. Okay, so does anyone have any questions? You can ask me anything about PR. You can ask me anything about running a business. You can ask me anything about your specific launch, if you have questions about that, if you're coming up with something. But I want you guys to understand that the sole purpose, whenever you see celebrities doing anything, like my friend Emily De La Cruz says, success leaves clues. And I'm sure she's not the only person that said that, but it's who I can remember offhand. Success leaves clues. So when you are looking at celebrities doing different launches, no, you may not have their exact resources, but you have resources at your disposal. Google, YouTube, lives like this, right? Use what you have, and you guys will see this on my next IGTV. If you're not following me over at Lynn PR Mentality, make sure that you're doing so there. It's at LYNN PR Mentality. But you want to invest where you are. It's okay to start from the beginning and use what's in your hand. The only thing that I want you guys to understand and to start to realize is that you have tools to be successful. You may have to just change your perspective, right? So when you see Beyonce launching Ivy Park, or Kelly launching Fabletics, or, somebody doing a new fashion show, or whatever the case is, look at what they did, right? If you look at a movie when it comes out, right? Right now, if you go to a movie theater, there are commercials, there are previews, right? For other movies that are getting ready to come out in the spring or in the summer. So that should tell you to be strategic about a launch. Like, you have to learn to use what's around you to help push you forward. Does that make sense? Excuse me, guys. You have to use what's around you to help push you forward. So I am going to give you guys a couple more minutes. I'm trying to push the Q&A button. Okay. So I think we just did it as a Q&A, but either way, you guys can ask questions below, or if you are catching the replay of this, if you happen to see it on IGTV, definitely feel free to DM me. I am DM friendly. You can also email me at hi, that's HI, at Walker, WALKER, ASSOC, mediagroup.com. And you can get in touch with me there. Feel free to let me know your thoughts. If you have questions, we're definitely working on new content. You guys know that I had to take a bit of a hiatus for a second, but we are back bigger, better, and stronger than ever. So I'm excited about just doing more lives like this with you guys for sure. All right, I'll give y'all a couple more minutes. And while we are waiting, like I said, the main thing that I want you guys to know, okay, is it's okay. Like, I know that we're in 2020. I know that everybody's talking about what they're going to do differently, what their big goals are. How are you showing up for yourself? How are you showing up for yourself? You have the power, and I cannot stress this enough. You have the power. You have the resources. You have everything that you need in your hand to be successful. To, make sure that you are in a different space, right? This time next year. But you have to show up for yourself every single day. And so we talked about this earlier into the live, but I really want to go back to it because it's so key. If there is anything that you've started and you did not finish it, or maybe it didn't work well the first time, do not be afraid to try it again. Do not be afraid to try it again. Hello. All right, so we got a question. 1 second. All right, so the question is, can you use influencer marketing as the only marketing strategy to reach your audience? My response to that is I would not, right? Because when you think about influencer marketing, number one, you have to have the right budget. You have to have the right budget. I was just in talks with an influencer on behalf of my client yesterday. Some of the influencer campaigns for one post for Instagram start off at $1,000. Excuse me. And that's for one post, right? So you want to use it as a mix. You can do influencer marketing, but you also want to make sure that you're pitching the media. You also want to make sure that you're doing event collaborations. You also want to make sure that you're doing, speaking engagements, like coupling all of these things. And that's one of the things that I want to start talking about too, is that the trajectory, right, of public relations is changing. It's shifting. It's not all about just pitching the media anymore. So even for me, I'm like, okay, how can I brush up on certain skills? How can we get certain things done? Because the landscape of the field is changing and we have to grow and change with it. So I would not suggest just using influencer marketing as the only strategy to reach your audience. I definitely would say for you to, switch it up. Switch it up. But that was a great question. That was a great question. I will take 2 more and then we'll go ahead and wrap up for today's live. 2 more questions. And the other thing about influencer marketing, while we're on the subject, is you want to make sure, again, like we said earlier, that you're targeting the right people. So just because someone has 1 million followers, that does not mean that they're the right audience for you, for your brand, right? Or for your client's brand. So you want to make a list. You want to track the analytics, right? You want to see how many likes they're getting. And even though Instagram is changing in that regard, you still need to figure out what's working, what's not working. What's working from an influencer standpoint, what products have they promoted that, people are responding to, and then that will kind of tell you if there may be a match for your client or for your product and your service. Don't just go after anybody, you guys. Don't just pay people because they have a large following. You have to be extremely, extremely careful and extremely, extremely strategic about it. Okay? When it comes to influencer marketing, you have to be extremely strategic about who you're targeting, if they are the right fit, and then how you want to partner with them. Because I wouldn't just pay someone to post something that they didn't personally believe in, right? The other thing is, do you have your packaging together, even for influencers? Like, these things matter, you guys. They really do matter. And so you want to make sure that, I hear a lot of people always saying that they paid an influencer. It didn't work. Well, did you do your homework? Or were you just so excited at the possibility, right, that you just threw money that you maybe didn't even have, or you maybe could have allocated that budget to something else? Did you get overly excited? Like, did you really do your research? Did you do your homework? So those are just some key things when it comes to influencer marketing. And like for my clients, those are things that may or may not work all the time, right? Because they have different brands, and we always try to figure out different ways for them to stay in their own lane and still go outside of the box, right? So influencer marketing can work, but it may not be a fit for everyone right away. It may not be a fit for everyone right away, okay? All right, you guys. Well, I hope that you have enjoyed this live. Go ahead, heart me up, heart me up, heart me up if you have found this to be helpful. I would love to see your notes. You can screenshot them. You can tag us in your Insta story, tag us in your post. Let me know how you enjoyed this, and I cannot wait to do the next one. I will see you guys soon. Bye.